challenge today, a good play through today. They gave a good showing of themselves, but Kusok's probably going to give them nightmares. He was all over them.
All right, we've got the bat chat stacks coming out now. Navi going all in on that, no messing around. And on the other side, not too dissimilar, to be fair. A couple of, the TVP in there as well, but still very similar lineups. And what do you see so far?
So as predicted, it's just everyone pretty much in autoloaders. Then you've got the two RU-251s as the quick scouts. Again, as kind of expected, there's not the rush. Both these teams know this area. They're not necessarily going for the rush. They're holding positions.
Again, a lot's been spotted though. The game plan has been certainly seen by both. They know their positions. Actually, Giroid has to be a little bit cautious. He's maybe overextended a touch then, and he certainly has now. Kusok managed to find shot so early. That's a huge deficit. Just Cause needs to be careful as well though. He's playing a very dangerous game here. You can see the position starting to unfold, the game starting to mature as the teams start working out the best places to exploit the opponents, as the damage is certainly coming forward.
Yep, you've got Strake here trading with Koritz there. Strake's eventually going to go into reload. Koritz is going to keep chasing him down, so whether Koritz can just follow this up, Strake's going to probably bait him in to try and find teammates. The danger here is that Koritz, if he doesn't, there he is, he's getting shot in the back. If he doesn't finish him off, then he's exposed as well. But he could commit too much trying to save Strake. So Strake's now safe, that's great for him.
Yeah, good positioning from the Anatolish as well, straight up on the hill, just keeping eyes across, providing the fire. But Coca-Cola's doing magnificently too. That bat chat providing great damage coming through. Now look at the deficit in HP, 7k, and it looks like maybe WOMBATS on tanks want to push that further. They want to take this advantage and take it home, and they're trading out evenly so far in the damage. Kusok needs to back away, overstaying his welcome. Breakneck can get to the forefront, and there's the kill. Inspirer, not so inspiring anymore, gets taken aside, leaving merely a couple standing for Navi. Enough to work with, but HP is looking dire here.
Yeah, WOMBATS can start to smell blood. The thing is WOMBATS don't see what we can see, so they don't actually see the full HP difference. So I'm not necessarily sure, do we push in? And obviously can never tell the reloads as well, so that's always a guessing game, especially when both teams are full of autoloaders.
Brilliant focus fire. Coca-Cola joined by the rest of them, focusing down and taking down the opponents. Navi are dwindling in numbers. This is a perfect beginning for WOMBATS on tanks, but Rhino's still got a couple of things to say about this. Not done just yet. 3 players remain. Strike, the Anatolish, and Rhino. These guys looking to do the work they can, and it's still possible, but just extremely difficult. Strike with 2 shells to make. And the 2 on the hill need to be so cautious to not overextend, not to give away any more HP, to try and retain what they have, because Navi are on the attack here, bearing in mind.
Yeah, two of the autoloaders now. Oh, it's taken out of that. So 2 of them were on reload just now. So that was the danger always as when there's like, if you have a couple of shells left, you think, do I pull back? Do I go for the full reload? Do I wait to shoot these shells off and then go back for a reload?
And again, down to 2 now. The Anatolish is stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and that hard place is starting to hurt. Breakneck laying down the shells. Fire after fire coming through. He's down to a 1-shot here. 20 HP taken out of his misery by just Cause there, and it's down to Rhino. And, well, he's got a bit of a task, let's just say. This looks like a bit of a sealed deal here. And, yeah, he's not having the best of times so far.
You can see that it's still purely 100% focused at the end. He's wanting to do what he can. In situations like this, you'll see sometimes teams will try and draw the match out as well and kill at the end. So sometimes a team will draw it out if there's only one person left rather than just die quickly, so they can talk amongst the rest of the team, say, okay, guys, what did we do wrong there? How can we kind of get it back?
And, well, WOMBATS on tanks not allowing that to happen there for Navi, saying, screw that, we want to take you down now. You can talk about it later because we've just picked up the first and kind of reviewing what went on. I've got to say, we highlighted focus fire and the teamwork and the chemistry being such an imperative factor on this map specifically. WOMBATS on tanks superseded Navi in that game.
Definitely. I mean, this was right at the very start, so it was just after the start, so they'd already lost Kilrod. He was the first one that went down. He was at the very front of the Navi line. Here you had a lot of just basically focus fire and trading, and you have Bishop just fully loaded there coming in. Kusok at the back, 2 shots. Kusok took a heck of a lot of damage there himself. But by this stage, basically, WOMBATS had almost double the health pool of Navi, and Navi were pulling away because you had Slide on reload, and the other 2 guys only had 2 shells each. They didn't really have enough left to be able to trade shots.
Again, don't write off any team just yet. This is still the opening sort of foray. They're both kind of feeling each other out, seeing where they're at, how they're playing, how they're performing. WOMBATS on tanks do claim the first round, but it's a map of 2 halves. We'll be switching sides, and it'll be WOMBATS on tanks on the attack this time. So the time limit will be against them. They need to make the plays, but a good step in the right direction for them to begin with. And Rhino did stay alive for quite some time, playing towards that lighthouse area, playing from the hill, doing a lot of damage. But outside of that, considering how much damage Navi did, how many of them were in the top echelons of this, quite surprising the WOMBATS on tanks actually closed it out.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, The risk of having all the autoloaders as well against each other is it's very easy to have split fire. Is sometimes you'll just have, like multiple times when you get situations like this, where especially a lot of medium tanks, everyone's calling out shots, somebody will say help, people will switch targets, and you really need to, especially with autoloaders, you want to try and just get a gun out. We talked about this before in other matches, you kind of really need to focus fire, remove the guns from the battle basically, and then have the number advantage. You can do a lot of damage to a team, but if you don't kill tanks, then you've still got guns against you.
That's it, and that's going to be something in the back of maybe Navi's mind coming into the second half here of the first map. Being Cliff, you never know what's going to go down. Will we see the Batchat stack coming out again? We'll have to wait and see what they go for here. Plenty of options available, and Navi seem very hell-bent in their ways sometimes. They like their playstyle, they like to stick to it, but let's see if it's going to go against them this time. WOMBATS on tanks, currently leading the way with 1 round beside them. Now, however, on the attacking side, they not only have to face off against NAVI, but also that time ticking against them. So still, NAVI will be starting into the north in blue, and we are seeing a bit of a split here again. WOMBATS on tanks going for a little bit of a different start, but it seems quite similar how they're approaching this.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the thing, there's a push coming up here, you can see with the new physics thing, so the Batchats have sneaked up into the middle there.
Oh, that's great damage from Slide coming through. Brilliant stuff. Lafshar even joins in, 1 replied, but a good trade early on for NAVI here.
Yep, now Coca-Cola, Povo and Just Cause are coming up to meet the rest of NAVI who are taking that middle route. They've gone right the way around the top now, so they're getting a real interesting split. This area is known as a small donut. The hill sometimes also gets called as the big donut, so WOMBATS are coming around really strong in force here.
Yeah, they're trying to claw back what they lost at the start, and they might just be doing it. Just Cause needs to be careful to not overextend, to put himself out on a limb, but look at that damage coming in. The Anatolish is being melted down, swept aside by Breakneck, leaving finally WOMBATS on tanks with a chance of getting themselves back into the Slides in the back lines. He can't get involved. They're taking the overmatch. Kirilo's doing what he can, but he might be outmatched, outnumbered, and Breakneck going straight forward. He's out on reload, and it's down to Bishop to close, and he does. Good stuff in the end, turning this one back around, maybe towards what WOMBATS on tanks can achieve.
It's trade for trade right now, hit for hit. Every time one team gets a slight advantage, the other team's coming right back in, and the tanks dropping on their side as well. Now you have this kind of lull period where the autoloaders again are taking time now to reload. They're looking to find each other again. The minute that these tanks have reloaded, they'll go back in again and try and pick out somebody else.
The thing is, the WOMBATS on tanks, considering that initial deficit, have been able to fight back in a little here. But the HP still with Navi is drastic. It's huge. It's a lot to overcome. And now Sly's got a chance, and he takes it. Nice little quick shot there towards Breakneck, taking down the opponents. And now, keeping it into check, we have 4v3. And Navi, you don't want to give them too much of a chance in this. They certainly don't need any help in it. And now peeking like this actually will give him a shot. And you can see the frustration on Inspirer's face.
Yeah.
He made a bit of an error, maybe overstepping his mark, and he receives a lot of damage for that.
Yeah, now they just have to be careful. They've got the HP advantage, but can easily slide away if one tank just gets caught out. NAVI are fully loaded right now. They're just waiting to get their shots. Slides got down 1 shot, and somebody else just got 1 shot there left. So they're basically looking about trying to pick their targets, and once that's done, they're just going to choose somebody, jump on them, and then try and retreat, get back in cover.
Strike trying to find a bit of a possible angle towards the top of the lighthouse. They're trying to find where Kusok's waiting, and he is waiting ever so patiently, because still, WOMBATS on tanks are on the attack, so they still need to take themselves towards Navi at some point. Inspire is on the hunt as well, so it's going to be possibly Kusok against Inspire. This could be a lovely battle. Actually, Inspire's got a lovely angle to hold as well, but Inspire wants to take the fight, and he doesn't win out on the initial shot as well, so now he's got support. Strike's there with him. Kusok's holding back 2 players in front of him.
Kusok needs to move, because if they decide to rush up and get him, then Kusok's going to be in a lot of trouble. And he's also got a danger of when he comes off the hill here, he could end up flipping or something like that and put himself in a real bad situation.
Yeah, and while this happens, well, Bishop's been taking a lot of damage, and Kusok's playing so carefully, so clinging towards this hill there, because as you said, the physics can be an issue, but right now that's not the problem. It's Strike finding Bishop. There's Inspire, leaving just Kusok alive, and hell, he might as well just turn this one over, because at the end of the day, Navi have the upper hand so firmly here. He's still waiting for shells to be available at this point, and the rest of Navi are on the hunt.
Yeah, the dangerous situation with Kusok there is once Kusok was pushed off the hill, they knew that basically Kusok wasn't a threat to him anymore, so he could just turn around and pick on somebody else. Kusok was stuck on the back of the hill. They didn't have to worry about the cross shot coming in from him.
Navi certainly never down, kept their composure there. Great deals of damage initially. I love that opening kind of gambit play where they basically hammered a hell of a lot of damage in towards WOMBATS on tanks. WOMBATS on tanks trying to take themselves up off that western sort of, I guess, hill approach, or was the small kind of hill that can lead up towards the more central area. And Navi read it like a book, waiting ever so patiently, did good damage. It looked like maybe WOMBATS on tanks wanted to try and turn that around by taking an aggressive play. Yeah. But as you said, this is NAVI. They're not always aggressive. They have that slow play in their back pocket if they need it. They don't always commit.
Yeah, when WOMBATS wanted to push around and try and to push into NAVI, you had there was so many shots coming out so quickly. You probably had a couple of shots that were actually hitting wreckages, because tanks, like, you had shots in flight that were like already taking out the tank. And I think just coming around here, there's probably a good maybe 1 or 2 shots that are actually hitting dead tanks, or maybe even hitting teammates in the back by accident. Like, there's so many shots focused or tracking. Like, there's so many just shots fired in this exchange, and this is like what normally happens. They're saying you have the first exchange, everybody, like, there's an ammo rack there as well, so everyone blows off the clip, and then everyone pulls back, reloads, composes, like, okay guys, how much damage do we think we just did there? How many tanks did we kill? Can you remember where the guys last were? Which direction are we going to go for? Which side do we think they're going to come in from?
So a lot already seen in the first map, bearing in mind this can go a lot further than this. Second map, if I'm not mistaken, will be Steps. That's on the horizon, but looking back at this slide, Inspire, these guys thrive in that chaos. They have the composure to just deal with it. They were pressured, as you saw, by WOMBATS on tanks, and as you said, once it calms down, they seem to just gather themselves so perfectly and put themselves back in the right place. So again, good work from them. Povel having a very quiet performance in this round, sadly, for him maybe being wiped out early on, not having the chance yet to stretch himself into it. However, the teams are messing around. They want this one underway. So guys, we're not going to hold back at all. The next map coming up is going to be Steps.
Steps, the most open map in the league. The attacking team appears near the rocks at the bottom of the map, and the defending team starts at the top. Bases are located near the railway and on the green. The best way to control them is to use the lowland near the second base. The attacking team usually begins the attack from the rocks and the railway, but sometimes they can attack through the green. Teams often drag vehicles from flank to flank, so both teams usually pick light vehicles with a good camouflage rating, but sometimes use tanks with a strong turret and even SPGs.
So, from the first map, neither team thoroughly striding ahead. Both teams having their moments and coming into their own. However, I think we're starting to see the strength of NAVI, at least into the second half then. But we also saw what WOMBATS and tanks can bring to this battle. Now, going to map 2, as I said, it being Steps, there's a lot of room for creativity here. And this used to be what I felt, and I know a lot of the other EU casters felt, maybe a downfall for WOMBATS on tanks. They were never pioneers when it came to kind of creative plays. They would see what other people did and think, maybe down the line we could use that, we could work with that. But they never were quite the innovators themselves. Whereas I've seen NAVI being at the forefront of very niche plays, of kind of pushing the boundaries a couple of times. So on maps like this, how do you feel it's going to kind of end up? Because of course, you know, WOMBATS on tanks aren't the team they were back then. They've changed, they've grown, they've gotten better over time. But how do these two match up here, do you feel?
I think this is going to be another 1-for-1. I think, to be honest, across all maps we're going to see today, I think it's just going to go 1-for-1. One team's going to get the advantage, the other team's going to come back and do the exact same, and these guys are just going to go all the way for the 5-4. I don't think they're going to give ground. Like, one team's going to be like, oh, okay, like they did that, and then next round they're going to be like, all right, okay, like you're going to go back at them. I don't think you're going to get, neither of these teams are going to be teams that tilt. Neither of these teams are going to be like, you know, you're going to have any real mistakes that happen or bad plays. I mean, at most, the only thing I can think that can happen is for example, the physics catching somebody when somebody gets flipped over or something. But everything else, these guys are very experienced across both teams. These are the guys you didn't want to face, really, if you're any of the other teams.
Exactly. This is the thing with these two. There is that every box is checked. They have the whole package here, which is something that I don't think anyone else can bring to this plate. You have Hellraisers that have new players coming in, very talented, there's no disputing that, but nevertheless, new people, new composure when it comes into big events like this. Whereas both these teams, very stable, and both have been in these instances, and both are just as talented. You'd argue NAVI have probably superseded WOMBATS on tanks several times, but both of them just seem to flourish in these instances, and you see the best that they can bring, because I remember WOMBATS on tanks when they're in the EU region, they just seem to get bored half the time. They literally went on a flawless run, and they messed up at the finals, don't get me wrong. They got a little cocky, but...
When they were VP, it was pretty much like smooth run for them, you know? It was like, you kind of had VP and then a cut behind everybody else was how it is. It's kind of like in, I believe, the Asia region, you have like EL Gaming, like a way ahead of everybody, and then behind that you had like the rest of the teams. So like the French Football League, you have like PSG like a way ahead of everybody, then you have the rest of the league. So it's definitely like these teams push each other. That's what's really good about this exchange between the two of them.
So we are into the second map, no messing around now. This is where we can see maybe someone break ahead, find an advantage, find something to work with. Because as you said, this could be one that goes blow for blow every single time, back and forth and back and forth. And now we are a little late into the game, so looking at the tank line, so we do have the artillery coming to play then. Kiriloid going to fancy that one. Looking through, any other surprises jumping to you, or something that you maybe expect by now?
Nothing too surprising I'm seeing there. I mean, there's a couple of 1-1-3s on WOMBATS on tanks. So WOMBATS and tanks are the ones that are going to be pushing Kilrod on the Lorraine for its defence on Navi. So this is looking to get into basically any kind of splash into anyone trying to cap, basically to break any caps.
So, just to clarify, if you're just tuning in, Navi are on the defending side, Wombats on tanks. On the attack, the time will be in favour to Navi. They can sit there and run it down. That can grant them a win as well. Otherwise, Wombats on tanks have to fight hard. And we're seeing a great information play actually here from Navi. 3 tanks heading towards the south. The Batchats just trying to find out what's going on here. There's no real moves towards the north. They haven't seen much else, so maybe they want to find something out. And there we go, being lit up. They know what's coming their way, and actually damage coming through as well. So great stuff being dealt from Wombats on tanks, already maybe predicting this sort of play.
Yeah, you had the RU coming up on Wombats on tanks, scouting up to the number 1 base. Now he's saying, okay, right, the Navi are coming down on the Batchats, need to start bringing it down. Looks like they're going to go for a push, trying to sweep round, basically, not really try and get dominance so they can then go into cap on number 2 and have a bit of a safer cap on number 2.
We've killed him.
Sorry.
The Scotsman can't take it.
And it will then
We'll get an Irishman instead.
It will then force Wombats and tanks to perhaps come across the field to try and break up the cap on 2, because they've got the south area of the map covered, so they can only come in the top. The Batchat up there's got them watched, so it's a dangerous then rush to come across the middle field area if they want to stop any kind of cap action that happens from Navi. Sorry, from Wombats.
And if you are relatively new, this game is so based on information, where you get spot, how you then approach it, where can you find your advantages. It's all about forging those small areas where it may not seem that significant in the bigger picture, but then eventually down the line, you're like, okay, now I see why they went for this. Now I get the information, the bigger picture of it all. And slowly but surely, Navi are starting to unravel what Wombats on tanks are doing, but we haven't seen the end game yet from Wombats on tanks, and every spot is a danger spot here. With Kyriloid on the artillery, you can see that coming through breakneck. Just backing away in time, just bear in mind. So again, this is very tentative. There's 7 minutes of play here, so you can expect Wombats on tanks to run that clock a little lower, try and get into good positions where they feel they could maybe shine here. But as you said, with the artillery piece on the ground, it's very hard for them to get those full caps in without being, completely destroyed from it. So Kurita's going to start it off, little test of it, but this is not a full commitment. This would probably not ever be a full cap on the first try. It's more to draw out Navi and get that information back in their pocket. Yeah, basically it's trying to bait Navi out to get them to come out and say, like, look, we're right here, we're sitting in your cap circle, show us where you are effectively. So they've still got their tanks spread out across the line. They're slowly creeping forward. And it's really just to basically test Navi and say, like, are you going to come at us? Are you going to try and do interrupt? They've got some blind shots going out, so Creeks just have to be careful he doesn't get shot in the butt here, basically. Breakneck kind of running a bit of defensive play here, but it's going to be interesting to see how. What's likely is Navi's likely going to push through the south area. And looking at what Wombats on tanks have waiting, they've got 3 tanks still relatively positioned towards the south, and you can see the fire going to come through towards the cap circle eventually, and that's going to be in the hands of Kyriloid. If he lands this, is actually not far off from where they're eyeing up, so this could be a dangerous shot coming out here. But they have scurried, they've scattered, because they've suddenly started to unravel what might be coming their way, and that's exactly as to why that southern flank coming through has been spotted out. Rhino, Anatolish, and Strike all en route, but look at this trap, well placed, well set, and the damage is coming through thoroughly. Coca-Cola's found of Shah, and this is a beautifully set trap by Wombats on tanks. Now they just need to close it down. Now they need to do the damage. They're outnumbered here, but the positions are strong, but Bishop is merely a pawn in this chess game. He's to be thrown aside, and now maybe Navi can break back here. Yeah, the damage right now, I mean, the health points are hugely in favour of Wombats and tanks, but Navi are coming great back in. This is why you have the Lorraine in this situation. You get quick spots, you use the Lorraine to do a cap reset, you use it to drop down on people, and quickly the advantage that Wombats and tanks have is quickly falling away. They had something like 4k health advantage there in this exchange. Now they're a bit spread out. You've got the Navi Batchats down south. They're probably going to come up and reload now, and they'll come back into the fight. Yeah, and Coca-Cola's just going to have to try and do what he can here at this point. And he's still doing damage, great deals of damage, bearing in mind. Focusing down towards one, he gets that. That's Rhino eliminated, and he might have another victim, but no, Povel's going to take that from him. And that'll be Inspirer down again. Wombats on tanks are trying to press the issue now. They don't want this to undone. They almost had their plan completely undone and unraveled. They've got to bite back, and they've done just that. Keeping in mind, Kyriloid is on the field, and he only has 390 HP. There's not much he can do when it comes down to these battles. It's down to Slide, it's down to Strike, it's down to the classics of the game, and sadly for them, they are outnumbered. You had Coca-Cola there sitting on 18 HP, so he was still in the battle, but so you could sneeze on him and he'll go down right now. Oh, and Kyriloid's trying to do what he can. He's trying to keep relevant to this game, to do what he can for his team, but he can't keep him afloat at this point. Already Strike's gone down, leaving Slide alive, and Slide can't slide out of this one, sadly. He's going to be just pinned down. Kusok might fall in this. He's going to have a shot maybe about now, so Slide can do a little bit of work. But again, this seems like a bit of a defeated battle here, and Navi will have to kind of calibrate themselves for that second half, because so far, at the moment, Wombats on Tanks are thoroughly in the lead.
It was really well played for Wombats. They're just like, okay, here we are, come at us. And then Navi kind of took the bait and went right into the middle of the trap. There's a lot of crossfire. It kind of went a bit hectic after a while there, but then you had the problems with the Batchats had done their damage, then they had to pull back with the reload. And with them being caught in the reload, then Wombats are able to come back in and pick off the Batchats as they were retreating.
Again, core issues coming out, and Kirillode will be on the move, trying to get himself maybe somewhere he can discuss with the team the second half. Well, as I said, these are the times where they want to talk, where in between games you want to focus on something else, but this is a good time just to highlight, okay, well, this was a bit of a problem. I don't think we worked very well there, and there you go. Coca-Cola's the one to close it out here for Wombats on Tanks, taking them up to 2-1. However, this map is far from over. There's a second half to be played, but a good pacing from Wombats on Tanks. I like what they did. They predicted that rotate, it seems, from Na'Vi from the south. Those Batchats came right into that little crossfire that was set, but then again, Na'Vi didn't go down without a fight.
Yeah, and you had it with the RU sitting in the cap circle. So the point is that they ran across the Batchat to spot the RU, and he could either, if it gets too close to the cap, you have that horrible decision of, do I stay and do I try and cap, or do I run because I know that right now that I'm spotted, that Artie's going to come down and aim on me. So it's always a risky tactic. They decided to run back, and then Navi had to then commit into the push, and Wombats are ready for them.
And that's the thing, you're spot on with that. And actually, I've got to say, Kirillode, with artillery, he's certainly kept himself relevant, considering normally when you see these kind of fast action fights, when it's very close quarters combat, you don't normally see that much, I guess, use for the artillery at this point. You see teams play against it.
Yeah, so I mean, right now there's like almost
still doing great work.
Yeah, in this exchange there's only like almost a 4K difference, and then Navi start to bring it back down again, and it looks like Wombats might be losing out, but then the Batchats then have to start pulling back because they've expended their clips, they haven't killed tanks, and then they need to get somewhere safe so they can reload and then come back out, and that's the dangers of the autoloaders. They're great at like picking up people, like being like vultures, but trading in situations sometimes is really not good to have an autoloader for that.
And that's Kirillode there, the artillery hitting 1.4K, not awful, not massive, but at the top, it's Coca-Cola really doing the work. Slide striking out, the kind of Batchat excluding Slide kind of duo coming through there. We saw how much damage they were able to deal, bringing this game back very, very close. But a lot of the Na'Vi players were kind of swept aside very early on. Shah unable to even get a single shot to complete.
Yeah, well, Shah wasn't even didn't even turn up in this battle, basically. He was
not really, sadly. Again, though, could definitely turn things around for themselves. There's still a chance here. There's still another side to be played, and if it sticks true to trend, Na'Vi should win this one, and we go 2-2. This is kind of what we expect.
And this wasn't necessarily due to any major errors again. It was just really, they were doing what's expected. They were going in, they were trying to get the reset the way you would expect for somebody to go for the reset. They were trying to push them out the way you would expect a team to push out, and it was just basically better shot management, better focus from Wombats on to Navi.
Let's remind ourselves, this has been a story of revenge that's been building for what? Since 2014. These Wombats on Tanks have constantly seen Na'Vi outdo them. Every time they've got to these events, they can do well in the EU region, that's great for them, well done, but this is the big stage. This is what teams fight for. This is what's on the calendar, all year round. This is where eyes are set. And every time they lose their chance to the team sat right in front of them. Yeah. So there is a real rivalry here. There is always those previous comparisons. So this is a massive factor. And I'm wondering who the fans at home are really supporting, because I know you'd put your logical vote with Na'Vi, right? Just because you would probably at this sort of instance. I think seeing the game now, there's probably a little bit more than in that.
I think a lot of people who perhaps maybe not familiar with World of Tanks who are watching in just now, they'll see Navi, they'll be like, okay, cool, Navi has a team here, like we'll cheer these on. You have a lot of the EU players in the EU, for the EU chats, you'll have things like, you'll get the common thing in chat was always like things like Wombats or Nakabro, take my energy. So I'm pretty sure there's a huge amount of Wombats fans right now in chat wanting these guys to go through. Did you just stir up
Twitch chat by saying take my energy?
No, I wouldn't say that, not at all.
You're putting the mods through some serious dilemmas now. I hope you're happy. Evil. Absolutely evil. You're saying, looking at Twitch, you're like, look what I've done. You're mine now. But again, there is still another half to be played out. This is the semi-finals going down here. Two absolute classic teams going head-to-head. And the second half is going to display a lot. Could it be finally that real lead that Wombats on Tanks have desperately needed for so many years against Na'Vi? Or will the powerhouse shut it down again? We're back underway here into the second half of the second map. Current scoreline is 2-1. And you have broken Twitch chat. I hope you're proud of yourself. And the Batchat stack has come out again for Na'Vi.
It's a Batchat stack, yeah, on Navi. Wombats taking some STBs around this time, so they're looking to play some peekaboo I was thinking perhaps, I was wondering if either team would go for the boost. It was so effective for Eclipse yesterday. Eclipse really had such a dominating position for that, but it's a really risky move going for the boost. You can have the damage of either getting under one of your tanks or doing too much damage, or flipping the tank you're trying to boost.
And again, though, we are seeing artillery coming out to play, and that's going to be with Kusok now for Wombats on tanks. Going to be at the helm of this, playing from the very far northern side, and a couple of spots being made, but not too many, not enough to give them the full display of what's coming. As you do see the shots coming in, not actually that far from Inspire either, but again, Na'Vi not giving away the game, keeping that ace up their sleeve. They're trying to keep this plan as hidden as possible until they have to commit, and this is a bit more of a kind of standard play, I guess, coming out from Wombats on tanks, playing down towards the east side in the trenches here.
Yeah, you can. It's the way Steps kind of folds out or plays out as the game goes on is really interesting, because usually the defensive team they don't hold a defensive line across the north of the map, which you'd expect. They either hold a south, an east line, or they hold a west line. Usually they always keep into that trench because it gives them a more kind of safer view. It doesn't let the attacking team know necessarily where the split of their team is. But this is good scouting right now from Antilog, just trying to see if he can find out, kind of feel his way where the Wombats gun line basically is set up.
And this is the beauty of this map, because it's such a excuse me, open field. It is about drawing your own battle lines and creating those plays that you desperately want, and Kusok trying to just keep eyes across the map, and actually not far from opponents. But again, the ground covered so far by Na'Vi and not being spotted themselves would give them the idea that, oh, well, actually probably no one's playing down by that one cap. There's not someone just sat in a bush very close by. Breakneck, however, being spotted, he might start thinking, okay, someone's pushed up, someone's by that railroad, someone's spotting me out. Okay, so again, it's like that sort of kind of very clinical, very methodical game where you just go through the motions until you suddenly get that bigger picture, and then you make your play off the back of it. So again, these early sort of moments, these early minutes, apart from those kind of miracle shots, are all about information gathering and finding an advantage where they can.
Yeah, it was the same when you saw Kusok aiming down south. They know someone's down in that area, so really they know someone's going to be down there trying to spot down into the right hand side of the map, and Kusok is basically trying to, as soon as he gets somebody's spot, he's going to be right on him. Kusok is really good with artillery as well. He's not somebody you want to be shooting at you if he's playing artillery. You want him to have a bad game, and that generally doesn't happen. So he's trying to feel out. He's looking for, maybe there's a boost up there. You know, trying to spot someone. Once he gets the shot in, then maybe someone's going to have a really bad day, basically.
Yeah, Kusok just scanning across the terrain, looking for those possible places, and that's a very common one. You saw the likes of FC Dynamo being consistent with that play, sort of towards that kind of A3, A4 area, not currently where Na'Vi is sat. So again, no damage done. It's a very clean couple of minutes gone past so far.
Very patient, yeah.
And it's that kind of, I guess the fear's starting to creep in for Na'Vi as well. It's the, okay, we need to play this very, very clinically. We need to be very clean about this one. We don't want to let that advantage build against us with Na'Vi. We in their minds, they should have won the last grand finals. So this is where they should be making their stand, and Slide has found an opportunity here. Breakneck getting lit up again. The Batchat's trading out a couple of pieces here, but Slide is the man on the back lines. He's holding that back flank, and if he loses out here, suddenly that flank becomes open.
Yep, that's the first blood basically coming in for Wombats there. So they kind of have a rough idea now where Slide is. There, you saw the map pings coming in, and at the same thing to counter, Slide was pinging in where the counter and the trench was, basically where he was getting spotted from. So now Wombats are kind of relocating a little bit. They know there's just Slide down there on his own, so they're thinking, right, Slide's down there basically as a distraction. They're going to try and come in the top way.
Again, Kusok still trying to find that early work here, but as you can see, with such little damage done between the teams, no one's found much, and here we go. This is the same sort of gambit, that same, well, we're going to start the cap up. If you're not going to show, well, we're going to get those sirens wailing and make sure you peek us. But again, Na'Vi are very tricky in their ways. As you said, they have players in the south holding that flank, so that's not a possibility. But they also have a little bit of a player towards the north. That's the Anatolish, and look where Kusok is watching. He's got his eyes trained on that. Artillery could be arcing right in towards him, but just doesn't connect.
So the thing is now is that for Wombats to want to get rid of the cap, they don't have anyone come sweeping in like what happened with previous round of Navi. So they just need to get a vision like they just had with Breakneck there, get vision on the cap, take the shot, bam, cap reset. And now there's Lusha having to run away from that.
It's all about making the kind of, I guess, worthwhile trades. If you get the information, do a bit of damage, stop the cap. For Wombats and Tanks, it's not showing their full hand. It's not overcommitting towards the cap that's not actually their focus. That shot finally hit, actually. I think that was possibly Kusok landing that one, I'm not too sure, but the Antosh now needs to move. He needs to adjust. He can't just wait there. There's going to be shells raining in from above. So, again, got to play carefully. He could go back to the same position. It's almost kind of like a double bait, like, well, he'd never go back there. But again, caution must be given here. 4 minutes left. Now Na'Vi need to start thinking about the win here. They can't keep playing this kind of toy game where you go back and forward, trying to get the attention. They need to start focusing in now.
Yeah, and basically what's happening, what you're seeing here from WOMBATS is they're using the STBs and they're using the gun depression of the STBs to basically play this ridge line. And you can't really do this with something like Batchats. There's a lot of trade going in here, but basically they're just keeping them, they're basically playing keep away on the bases. If someone goes into base 1, base 2 is completely secure right now. So all they need to do is occasionally get spots onto base 1, do what they're doing now, which is random fire. And that's the danger right now. If they don't have spots, or if it looks like they're maybe going to hit LeBlanc, this is going to be quite good, LeChat. Oh, so close. So close.
If only you knew how close that was.
They don't have vision on him right now. So right now, everything they're doing into base 1 is blind shots.
So around maybe the 20-second marker, maybe even later, you'll probably see someone have to commit from Wombats on tanks. Probably put themselves maybe around that C4, C5. You can get a touch of cover. It's a one and done. You can stop the cap if it becomes a real problem, but you'll probably cost yourself your position and your play in this game. They are going for the northern overtake here. Now the Anatosh is going to spot this all out. This is good. And the cap gets halted, but now they're in motion. Wombats on tanks are going to commit to this. The Anatosh is now pinned in. And Rhino with a beautiful play. Breakneck goes down. And now Just Cause flies into the action, but the Anatosh is buying time. He's just costing HP at the point, but a good trade out comes in again. 1 for 1 so far, and the fight is reset again.
Yep, now this fight's reset. Now basically Wombats need to pull back, establish the gun lines again, say, okay, we've done the trade, guys. Let's get calm again, you know, let's calm down, let's settle down, let's not overcommit, let's not get bloodlust, let's not try and push in when we don't need to. The advantage is theirs right now. There's 3 minutes left in the game. They have a rough idea of pretty much where everyone is. They don't have to worry about anyone trying to sneak in south. You still do have that Batchat down south, but he's really not adding anything to the battle right now.
But it's always that worry of if he does move, he does make a play, would he be out of position? And he is making a play. They're making their way up from the southern side. They're going to try and take on the STB, start weakening the numbers on the Wombats on tank side. And look, you can see everyone trying to fold back together, kind of put themselves back into play. They can feel that kind of noose starting to tighten from the NAVI side. And here we go, Kiriloid and Rhino going to start making their play too. This is a bit of a pinch from either side. The pincer maneuver is coming through. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, though. NAVI have to be damn good at this. They know they have a HP advantage. Now they need to push it.
Yeah, NAVI announced that stuck between, like, do we try and sit with someone on the cap and do we defend the guy on cap, or do we just try and rush in and just clear out Wombat so we can win on the kill? Right now it's risky because all we need to do is if it goes the wrong way and a couple of tanks from Wombats can get up, do the cap reset and run, then they're going to lose it that way.
Now Kusok needs to stay relevant to this, and he is! That's outstanding! Wow, absolutely outstanding play coming through. NAVI now have the advantage completely and utterly. Look at Povl, he's been shredded down. Karitz is looking a little worse for wear, and where is he in this battle? Povl's about to go in this one, and again, NAVI coming forward, looking like they're going to even this one up. Bishop's getting absolutely decimated. Kiriloid's going to find it, and NAVI slowly but surely powering their way through Wombats on tanks. That fight coordination was essential. The Batchets in the south finally came through, and Karitz and Povl can do nothing but watch on here. They know that. The time is going to be low, though. Again, if they could make a hero play to stop the cap, there's a possibility, but it's so slim at this point.
Yep, now they're just flooding the cap basically to be absolutely sure, because Karitz, if they weren't sure where Karitz was, if Karitz was down like way over like the 2-line or 1-line, there was a potential danger of them not being able to do it. But now it's exactly as I said, the thing is, so do we sit in the cap? And they're like, no, actually boys, I fancy it, let's kill them all. We don't need to worry about trying to win it with a cap.
And here we go, Rhino wants it, and they're gonna get it. 4v1, Karitz falls, and it's NAVI bringing it back again. 2-2 now. This is the battle of the Titans that we expected. This was the clash that could go down in history here between these two teams. Again, tooth and nail, going backward and forward. Wombats on tanks tried to make a play. Maybe you could argue too passive, maybe not taking the fights well enough. Maybe the coordination wasn't there, but they allowed NAVI a chance, and NAVI will never turn that down.
I think what you saw is when we said how they knew the Batchat was down south and it wasn't necessarily a threat at the time, then the other Batchat came down in the front. There was only the STB, so by the time he was like, guys, like there's two Batchats coming at me, they weren't really in a position to cover them both areas. So it was great play from NAVI to finally say, like, okay, like we've got their attention north. Let's hit them from the south, you know, let's come in with a pincer, let's make them focus, and just as you saw Kusok getting ready to aim, they're getting just about ready to shoot, and almost like pretty much as he probably clicked the mouse button was when he died, you know? Oh,
those feelings. It's just, what can you do at this point? Again, this is kind of what we expect between these two to a degree, but it's still so outstanding, and this commitment, again, the cap was going at the time, hence the commitment had to come through, and then look at the damage coming out. Rhino doing brilliant work then.
Yeah, Just Cause going a bit crazy here, like running in too much. He takes himself a bit of a hit there to push out Antlock, and then this was when they cleared the cap basically. It was like, okay, come back, calm down, reset. And then you saw from in the middle here, the middle Batchat, he's pretty much in the middle of the map. He then comes down south. So then you have 2 bat chats down south. They have time to basically reload, make sure they're fully ready to go. Basically just talk to the guys up top and say, okay, let us know when to go.
The mental strength to do that as well. While you're getting kind of like pressured in the north, you know, a lot of players having to, you know, calm all this information, then to actually formulate a plan to then go for a southern play later down in the game. This is a beautiful mind game between these two, and you really do see how good these teams at a top tier level really are. It's quite impressive. And Rhino, the man who shredded Wombats on tanks, very much at the forefront there. Strike again, no surprises. He seems to be a common factor towards the top, if I'm honest, and Kirilo playing well. But again, a couple of players being a little bit absent from these. Shah not having a massive impact yet, but again, it's more presence, it's what he brings to the play, maybe outside of that we need to keep our eyes on. But this is not over just yet. We're at 2-2. This is all even. This is the semi-final we want to see. These are the perfect games.
This is definitely going to go all the way. I really don't see any team breaking again in this situation. There wasn't any. You couldn't really say like, oh man, he totally messed up going to that situation. He completely outplayed. It was really just focused shots. Again, NAVI getting a bit caught short on the second map there. Sorry, Wombats getting caught a bit second, but there's no real errors, no enforced errors. And now it looks like for the third map, we're going on to Mines.
Yeah, Mines a beautiful place to see these two absolutely throw down. Again, probably should be another 1-1. As you said, it's got to be going to that final decider for me.
If anything with Mines, it's usually always quick matches. You know,
Yeah,
you never really get a drawn-out Mines match that goes the full distance, unless you were earlier on. We had Simp against. God, who did he play?
When today?
Hellraisers this morning.
Oh.
The first one. So we had. That's yesterday's one. So. I can't even remember. I was watching it with Dodgen, but we had
Talking
one
about films again and making references
we had one on
we
Mines,
don't know.
and
Look how it turns around.
Dragged out in time. Nothing. Move on. Move swiftly on.
All right. So this time around, we're gonna have NAVI on the defending side, Wombats on tanks on the attack. So the attack in the north gonna head their way down south. And as you said, this is not gonna be a slow and cautious paced map. This is normally quite fast, but actually interesting positions coming out from Wombats on tanks. They're not going for the initial commitment nor the crossfight towards the hill, but just cause.
Just cause. Did he make it? Did he make it?
Oh, what?
No. Oh, he's on his side. No. He messed it up. That was I was trying for the cheese on new physics, and that went really bad for him. He basically took half his health down, sliding down the hill there.
And I think Kusok's mad as hell. Look at him. He's just going in there as well. If you're going to do that, I'll just take a face full of damage. Why not even the score? My God, what a way. They need to recover from that because here comes the bloodbath. Bishop's found a position. He's going straight ahead. He's just going to go plowing in, maybe trying to find a touch of cover here. The flank's en route. That's Povel, but the kills aren't coming in for Wombats on tanks. They're not doing the damage fast enough. And now Inspirer and the Anatolish get on the action. Shah's found Coca-Cola. Breakneck yet to have that shell primed and ready to deliver. And look at NAVI. They're here to prove a point, and they're doing just that. Inspirer finds Just Cause, and now we're down to a mere few players for Wombats on tanks, and what a tilting moment if there was one. They could recover from this, don't get me wrong, but it's going to take some real strength here.
Yeah, it's just basically a typical Mines match. Everyone just goes middle, there's some kind of crazy play, and then it's just trade for trade for trade, shot for shot for shot. I mean, unbelievable right now. That mess up at the start from the back chat, that really kind of threw the whole situation.
And look how close this has come down to. It's a 3v3 at the end of the day. Sure, it's looking very favourable towards NAVI, but still a 3v3 nonetheless. Imagine that touch more HP, that little more on their side. There could have been something. Now Inspirers had enough with the Anatolish. They want to seal the deal. Slide still just about standing in this one. But again, a tough battle coming out. Wombats on tanks not letting go just yet. They want to bring this back so desperately, but the Inspirer just having none of this. He wants that shot. He wants to get himself, but not going to have the chance to. His teammate will pick it up for him. And now 3v2 is down to Bishop and Breakneck.
Yeah, it's not looking good at all. There's Breakneck already taking hits. He's down to 75% health. Antilok is coming down now as well. Breakneck still trying to shots with him.
What is this play though? He's going hero level mode at this moment. That's just one shell. Breakneck.
Oh, he misses it. And that's it.
Only hit that. And he knows now the Anatolish is on a blood mission. He's got time to kill off this one.
Just slow down. You could maybe think, should I ram him? You know, I was thinking keep that one shell available. So now he's on the reload. Bishop looks like he's burning now.
Burning alive at this point, and I think the team comms will be burning as well after that initial play. There's going to be some rather fiery words, let's say, as Bishop now knows his fate has been sealed. He's got that 2v1 that he just probably can't close out at this point. And he's on the attack, and looking at NAVI, he can just sit back and go, let's just leave you guys to dwell on that.
Antilok just damaged his tracks there, apparently, wherever he's came down. So it looks like he's came down off a hill or jumped off something. Inspirer's running away. So Antilok's basically coming out, giving himself time to reload. Anteloc's coming in with the 3 shells on Inspire, sorry. So in a minute, basically, what you're going to see is the sandwich pretty much of the Batchats just waiting. One of them will act as bait, distract him, and another one's just going to sweep in and kill him.
There you go, you can see Antolich taking his time on the way around. Now has the shells available, as does Inspire. He's got a few less, but it's more than enough to work with for one in theory, unless Bishop goes above and beyond, which is not going to happen. There's the shutdown. Brilliantly played in the end, and what was that start? We have to go back to the beginning. The end looked good. It looked like a closer game than it was, but how does that happen?
It's going to be a good one for the analysts to want to bring up and show the dangers of, you know, trying to go a bit too overconfident or a bit too fast into the areas you can get to with physics.
The theory crafting isn't bad to that sort of thing, but it's like, it's maybe not the semi-finals is the best time to do it. I guess you've got to bring out the ace up the sleeve, right? But again, that beginning is going to haunt those boys. They started to really go back into this one, look strong, look good, but they really need to be careful. Any mistake you give to Navi, they'll say, they're like, thank you very much, we'll take that. And
yeah, definitely. And the thing is, as I say, Mines goes that way. So Mines is just, it's just chaos. It's like the mini version of Cliff. And this is it here. So he goes up, you can see him start to slide down now, so he doesn't get to, he wanted to be slightly forward. And yeah, the camera comes up and just kind of misses it, and then he slides down. Then you can just see it coming down now, just cause. And you see him, basically slides all the way down onto the side. 1,000 damage from basically, you know, gravity.
Gravity on Navi's side.
Yeah. So Navi are like, hey, thanks very much, you'll take that at the start. I'd be like, what happened there? And he didn't. That's the sneaky way for that spawn to be able to get up onto the hill, but you really need, it's almost like a roller coaster. You have to kind of bank up and then turn back on yourself. And if you get that wrong, then that's a perfect example of what happens.
And this is going to be so hard to recover from. Imagine being Just Cause, you're sat there right now, just like, did that really?
It's just like, don't worry, guys, I've got this, you know, and like, uh-oh.
And look how much damage he went on to do at the end. Imagine if he had a little more to play with, what they could have achieved. That is absolutely gutting. Personally, looking at Wombats on tanks, they, you know, probably had a plan. They could have probably done a lot more, but again, it came down to the last couple of moments, and they certainly were not in Wombats on tank's favor. They had to close it out, and they were trailing so badly by then. Navi, you know, if they sense blood in the water, they pounce, they go on that. They just absolutely destroy any prey they're given. But there is a second half to this, and maybe Navi will give them their own sort of blunder, let's say, but I really don't, I do doubt that.
That's true. I'm maybe expecting a bit more passive from Wombats this time. They're the ones who'd won the previous 2 maps. So they've won, and then Navi's came back. So this time around, it's Navi who won this one. So nothing really stand out special here. You got an AMX 50B on Wombats on tanks, so a bit more DPS. They're going with 3 113s. Again, it's the usual push. Everyone kind of goes to middle weights. Lasha kind of showing how it's done here. If you watch, no, has he done it? He's done the same. No, Lasha, there you go. So he's doing Antelope as well behind. Oh no. He's not going to take a hit though. Oh, he does. Okay, so Antelope as well. That's two times in a row now. So one out of 3. You know, be able to get up there. The cheese goes wrong, basically, you know?
Yeah, exactly. An interesting start, let's say, but let's kind of reset. That wasn't as much damage being caused. That's not as much of a deficit. And you can see the blow for blow starting to begin here in the middle. It's a bit of a 3v3, a bit more, maybe actually more than that. Look at Wombats on tanks. They have a lot of presence here, but actually taking a lot more damage. Lasha from up top taking a little bit more than maybe he'd like to, but where's that flank coming in? We've got the Batchat towards the north of Breakneck, but this is a real scrappy battle of Popple. He's been surrounded. He's put himself in a real dire situation, and I think Strike knows it as well. They look calm, cool, and collected, but Lasha managed to find Kusok. A swift pickup. Popple now falls, and if there's a way to describe this battle, it is absolutely scrappy as you like. Rhino's going to sacrifice himself here, more than likely, if Coca-Cola can find the connection. He might just go for that in a minute. He knows there was a reload available there in the end, but Strike on the hunt as well, on the prowl, and Navi look like they want to add insult to injury here.
Yeah, you can see here, this is the T49 against the Batchat. He's trying to pick out when he wants to hit. Doesn't get the HE damage right in there. But it's almost like sometimes you think the teams talk to each other before they play in Mines. Like, guys, hill? Like, okay, let's meet in hill. And they just go for the fight. Wombats and tanks, I mean, they've just, again, you had Povel come round in the AMX 50B from the back. He's just like, hey, guys. And he's like, suddenly he's in the middle of the entire Navi. Like, that was a crazy place to be. He's got 5 shots he can get off. And then he's done in the middle. And everyone's just like, oh, hey, there's an AMX 50B, free kill.
Wombats on tanks. One mistake, and they've looked like they've not recovered into this round, if I'm honest. It looks such a strong victory compared to all the other rounds, how close they were. Break next to your last man alive, and it's time to discuss. It's time to reset. He knows he's done for. It's NAVI going to get themselves on 4-2 now. One away from closing out this game. And that is going to be devastating to any WOMBATS on Tanks fan. Seeing them crumble, seeing them not recover. We said at the start, these two teams shouldn't be the ones who tilt. But again, that sort of addition, you said at the start, they could be the one problem that they don't account for, which is gravity.
Yeah, it's like, what happened, guys? Like, well, gravity, you know, didn't expect it, didn't really have it covered. You can see here that everyone trading shots. I mean, I don't know why Pavel would just come round in the AMX 50B like that. He's surrounded by a sea of NAVI players and basically committed like away from home. Breakneck's sitting at the back. I would have thought maybe Pavel would have been sitting back up with him. Instead, he just pushes into the middle of the hill on his own, where you had like Antlock and Strake sitting there. You have Strake in the T49, and that can do some like massive damage. I think he gets about 300 here onto the batch. He's trying to pick his spot to make sure it doesn't splash, doesn't bounce, and 364 he gets in there. And like, you can't, the T49 can be such a pain, basically. It's good for resetting the caps and stuff, and against things like the Batchat, is going to get through its armor.
And now here comes the issue. I need to check what that final map is right now, because this could change everything. Again, I say final map, oh no. Okay, it's Ruinberg.
Ruinberg, okay. So Ruinberg, we've still not seen any crazy plays yet in Ruinberg. Ruinberg's that map where you're just like, because teams usually always win defensively in Ruinberg.
Guess who's starting defense as well.
So every time a team wants to try and win, if they really want to go for the win, because sometimes we'll be like, okay, we'll let them win, we'll let them take the defensive game, and then we win the defensive game. And then sometimes you'll get teams going like, we want to win the attack, and some crazy play comes out, 3 mouse or something like that to bullet sponge, or just...
He knows he's got Ruinberg defense. That's the face you get. It's like, I can see the finals. But guys, we're going to carry this discussion on in a moment. Let's get ready for an insane match now between these two. It is going to be NAVI on match point, bearing in mind they're 1 round away from getting to those grand finals to reclaim their crown. But before we get there, Ruinberg to come up.
This one.
And this map, as you were saying.
This map has usually always got crazy tactics, yet nobody said, like, hey, like, don't talk. I was like...
It's the unsaid rule. I have to throw you...
So close, I nearly dropped a whoopsie there.
But the one thing I will say about this map is the fact that it is a defense-sided map. It is very rarely a 2-0. So I'd say for WOMBATS now, this is the ultimate test. If there's any moment in their mind where they sit there, they're back at home after losing time and time again to NAVI, you think, how can I outdo them? How can I win these games? This is where everything they've done until this point needs to be shown. They're going to be on the attacking side, if I'm not mistaken. So this is going to be an uphill struggle from the very offset. This will show how much they want this, and this could be their last stand.
Yeah, I mean, with Ruinberg, both cap circles are pretty exposed, so you can't really do any kind of sneak caps. You can't really do any kind of pressure caps. Unless you have something like an IS-7 going into cap 2, where it can sit in the deflate basically and just try and get bounces, but fairly standard lineups that you'd expect from both teams here.
Ladies and gentlemen, WOMBATS on Tanks on the attacking side. This is going to be a struggle and a half, but they need to bring out the A game. NAVI just have to play to the caliber they bring time and time again. Now on the defending side, they need 1 more round. And the grand final is the next step. However, don't write WOMBATS on Tanks out. A story of revenge built over years now, but here we go already. Kreitz gets spotted, Slide delivers. Kyriloid's gonna have the information now gifted over, but will he expect Just Cause? And again, this is not normally a big commitment, but actually Just Cause might have a bit of a turn on this one. And well, trade for trade, blow for blow here. And it is going very even, but the point being there's a crossfire coming in from that eastern village, and Just Cause is being shredded. Again, down to 255, but you can see the reflex from WOMBATS on Tanks. They want to get themselves up a little closer here and try and cover off Just Cause.
Just with that exchange you had between...
No.
The exchange you had there between, there was a bounce, then he pulled back. He's on fire as well. He doesn't have fire.
Just about stays alive, but I think he knows that he's about to get his neck snapped, and Lashard's going to take that one. It is NAVI going so far ahead in this. Levshar might actually be sacrificed for that pickup though, but this is a real blow for blow battle. Nice focus fire from Bishop and Karitz there, spotting out Kirillod and trying to do some work towards it.
Yeah, Kirillod's in a reload right now, so he has to just basically juke back and forward until he's ready to go and then start getting shots back. They're going to know, because he's not shooting back, that he's reloading, so they want to try and take him out before he gets a reload in. See so many shots coming his way and missing the rocking back and forward is really distracting.
And it's incredibly hard. Look at the damage they've received just because of this. The 3 tanks paying attention towards Kirillod, Bishop, Just Cause, and Karitz. Funny that, really. And now the Anatolish fancies it. He's had enough of this. He doesn't want any more bother here. He's going to be peering down Kusok in a little bit of a predicament, but Kirillod going to take the fight. He wins it. Just Cause goes down. And now WOMBATS on tank starting to dwindle. NAVI taking strides towards those finals. They want this, and they're so close. 4 players now stand in their way. 4, make it 3.8k, make it 3. This is going down right now. Povel is trying to fight back, but again, how much can he achieve here? HP solo, Stripe waiting for those shells to become available. Rhino's found Bishop. This is now moments away. Karitz knows his days are numbered. He can see them moving in. Rhino's there. He has been at the forefront here for NAVI. Big performances from him. Karitz is a one-shot. And this looks all but done.
Yeah, this is how you would normally expect a Ruinberg map to go as well. The defensive team just kind of focuses in, draws them in, and just goes, right, let's go boys now, turn it on. A real shame for WOMBATS. Wanted this to go on a bit longer, but NAVI were just so strong.
And again, Kusok has to face the destruction. It's NAVI gonna get themselves through to the finals.